But while I've been off, I've been thinking about where I want these videos to go. What is it that I'm actually doing in terms of empowering women? I've got loads of examples of where I know that things haven't gone my way, or people have discriminated against me purely because I'm a single mother. I'm unmarried. I have 2 children. My first is a son, and now he's 27. He was born in London. I was living in England at the time, travelling, like many of us Australian backpackers. I was living in a pub. And my ex was a punter in the local, and we were together for about 3 years. No, sorry, we were together 6 years. 3 of those I had Dominic. We had my son. But, the relationship broke down for numerous reasons, and we split up, and I left and went back to Australia with my son, and then that sort of started the journey of myself raising him on my own. I put myself through university. I did a year of science over here, and then I did a 4-year degree in dietetics. So I'm a registered dietitian now. And that was really difficult because I was on what we have in Australia, sole parent pensions, and I was cleaning someone's house once a week for a little bit of extra cash. I used to do their ironing and whatnot. However, when he started school, then he was, I needed to take him to before school and then after school care, holiday school care. I couldn't take time off, and I couldn't work part-time hours. I had to work full-time just in order to, pay the bills. I remember having a budget of like $50 a week for food. I'm talking, you could only have 1 bread roll a day. It was so tough. And despite it being really, really difficult, the sense of achievement, and I was so proud of myself because I had no other options. I had no other options. And people would say, "Oh, you're so strong, you're so independent." And I had no choice. What was I supposed to do? I'm quite a proud person as well, so I didn't want to go down the road of getting a council house, and not that I have an issue with that. I kind of think to myself I was pretty stupid. I probably should have done that, because I probably would have had more time with my son and not push myself. I guess I wanted to give my son everything, or as much as I could, that a normal family would have, a mum and a dad. I would be mum and dad. And I guess at the time it was fine because I was in my 20s, I was quite fit, I used to go rollerblading with him. Sorry, I wasn't in my 20s, I was actually in my 30s by then. I had my son when I was 28. I used to go rollerblading with him. We used to do road trips all over the east coast of Australia. Came to England a few times. We kept in touch with his father. His father came out to see us and so forth. But ultimately, I did it by myself. I privately rented a small house on the beach. It was so run down. It even had holes in the floor. I mean, it was fine in Queensland because it's so hot. We used to say it was our air conditioning. And if he was playing downstairs, because it was a house like on stilts, and if he was playing under the house, I could literally look down the holes to see what he was up to. That's how bad it was. So when my son was about 11, he was 10, I met my daughter's father. We dated for about a year. He'd left me, and then about 3 weeks after we split up, I realised I was pregnant, and at the time he didn't want to know, yada yada. Obviously I had my daughter, and she's now 16. And it was the best thing for us because my son and I, we were always by ourselves, but we were kind of a bit lonely. So it was just as like another part of our family, which was lovely for us. However, it just made it really even more difficult for me. I suffered with postnatal depression. I couldn't afford my house. I had to give up my clinic. I went back to working for the public sector. And which is fine, and then I progressed and became quite senior in that role. My kids went to private schools. I worked damn hard for it, don't get me wrong. Nothing was given to me. Nothing was given to me. I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed my freedom. I was just working and making sure that my kids had whatever they needed. and as much as I could possibly give them with the limited money that I had. We used to go on road trips. I managed to get myself a four-wheel drive, and we just travelled. We went all over the place in Australia, the three of us, you know. Some people thought I was completely mad because we were going like out west, you know, where there's literally just tumbleweed running across the road. You wouldn't see cars for miles, you know. It was fine. We didn't have mobile phones back then either. Gosh, we didn't have the internet either. Just thinking about all the things we didn't have and how stupid I probably was. But you know, when you're younger, you're a lot braver. I'm pretty brave, I think. I think I've proven that. Oh, I remember when Dominic was little, we were looking to rent a house, and this was back in Australia. And now Dominic would have been, I was at university. Dominic would have been 4 or 5. When I arrived at the real estate, I can remember it clearly. The man said to me, and he goes, "Well, we don't like to rent out houses to single parents. I don't know, how many boyfriends do you have that are going to be turning up?" I thought, how dare you? Like, well, what makes, you know, just assume that I was some tart, you know, because I wasn't married. Telling people, "Oh, I'm at university and I'm studying science," and then things change. It was, she's an intelligent one. Then about 10 years ago, just under 10 years ago, I was made redundant. The job that I had with the Queensland government, and my son wanted to come. He'd finished high school. He wanted to come back to England to see his father. My daughter had literally just started primary school, and we came back. And England's been really good to me. I've got myself a good job over here. But, you know, I've been lucky to have those opportunities. I know that it took a lot of hard work. As I said, it wasn't gifted to me. I've had a lot of wonderful friends. I guess the hard thing I found was, and I kind of struggle with it now. You know, when I'd go out and about, and I'd see families all together and having barbecues, and all the cousins and the uncles and the aunties and all of that, and I'd find myself alone with just myself and my baby. And I always had a sense that I'd failed somehow, or I just wasn't good enough, or no one actually wanted to marry me. Although I wouldn't have married my son's father and Francesca's father. Well, sadly, when she turned 7, he came back into our life for a very short period of time, for about 6 months. But now she's 16, she'll be 17 soon. Very mature young woman. I've made my kids quite resilient because they've had to, you know, they've had a lot of time without me, having to look after themselves in the house when I've had to work. And I guess that's one of the benefits of being a sole parent. One of the benefits I find, and I'm sure if any of you are watching that are single parents or sole parents, you have a special bond with them, you know, like, because you don't have anybody else. So it's not like I can sit and chat with my partner or sit and chat with my kids. And I've read somewhere where people kind of treat their kids as though they are their partner. And I guess when I was just with Dominic, I guess I kind of did that with him. You know, like, we'd talk about things and I'd ask him for, you know, I'd say, "What do you think about this? Should we do this? Should we do that?" And I feel bad now when I look back because, you know, he was only young. He didn't know, but I needed to talk to somebody, you know, and we didn't have the internet then. So it wasn't like I could just jump on Facebook and have a chat with anybody, or we had no mobiles. This is when he was much younger. Now it's a little easier. You know, I'm on certain groups, on Facebook groups, because one of the benefits of me raising the kids completely on my own is I didn't have to share my kids. Although it would have been nice to have them, you know, every second weekend off. You know, I didn't have that. But I hear so many horror stories, you know, of sole parents sharing custody with their ex, and their ex just being complete horrors, and they don't really want their kids around them because they're, you know, narcissists, or they're abusive, or they're alcoholics, or they just have different parenting styles that you have, and you don't, you know, and you don't get on. And sometimes the kids will come back. You know, I hear friends that say, you know, their kids have come back and they're really sad and they don't want to go over to their fathers, but they have to because the court says they have to. It's horrible. I've never had to worry about that. See, there's stuff that I can't do with my kids. You know, I couldn't go to the bar or things like that. And I don't really care, really. But, you know, I do feel that I've missed quite a big chunk of my young adulthood. Not going out, you know, doing the dinner thing, going out with friends, doing all that sort of stuff. I did, but it was very rare. So now that I'm, you know, I'm 56, turned 56 in February, bought this van in January, and I'm just trying to make the most of what I can do on my own. I guess I'm so used to being on my own, it doesn't bother me camping by myself. Yeah, I guess you do become quite self-reliant. You become quite creative when you're by yourself and you've got kids and you've got no money. You know, you don't really have a choice. So I'm really good at upcycling. I upcycle everything. Everything I own is secondhand. You know, I mean, people used to say to me, "Oh my gosh, you're so, you know, I don't know how you do it. You're always, you know, you've never got a break. You've always got the kids, da 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 da." And I went, "Yeah, but you know what? It could have been a lot worse. I could have had a partner, ex-partner to deal with. I don't have that. So I don't know what's worse, really. I remember whenever I did manage to get out, it'd have to be worth it. Like, you know, I'd go out and it's like, I can't waste tonight. The dinner has to be good because I haven't been out for dinner for forever. This meal has to be the best meal I've ever eaten. Otherwise, I'll be really gutted. One, to spend the money because I didn't really have that much money, but one, to spend the money, but mainly because it was my night out and I hadn't been out for months and months and months, right? And then, you know, and then my friends go, "Oh, we're really tired." I went, no, I can't go home yet. Please don't make me go home yet. I don't want to go home yet, because I just knew that when I went home, it was back to my old life of just being at home, doing nothing, you know, washing and stuff. And then basically being lonely. When I was with my recent partner who passed away, I remember feeling different because he was there. He actually lived with me. He lived with me for the last 3 years. Helped me with my daughter during COVID. Like, he helped me while I had to continue working. He looked after my daughter. And I remember we'd go away camping, and that just had that feeling of like, oh, I'm okay, I'm normal, I'm you know, I've got a family too. And people kind of treated me different because I knew I was with somebody. And I, you know, and he was my partner, and I kind of liked it because I felt I didn't have to explain myself anymore. I didn't have to prove myself. It's okay. I mean, what the hell what's that all about? Why do I suddenly feel like, I fit in now? You know, yeah, you can approve me because I've got a partner, and yes, these are all our kids. We had like 5 kids between us. But I just felt so good because I didn't need to explain myself. And people weren't watching what I was doing, you know, because if I was doing something with just the kids and we'd be like setting up camp and, you know, I'm trying to do it by myself and making mistakes and that, I always felt so self-conscious that people were going, "Oh my God, look at her, poor thing. Oh, what a shame," you know, da da da. And again, could be making assumptions, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they were thinking, because I do know some people do look down upon single mothers, you know. But if you're a single dad, well, that's a different story. Then you're a hero. Never understood that one either. I was on a bus one day, and this lady says, "Oh, you know, so and so, his wife passed away, and now he's got 2 children, and he has to look after them, and he has to go to work, and he has to do this, and he has to do that." And I sort of went, "Well, I'm really sad. You know, I feel sorry for him because he's just lost his wife, but I've been doing that all my life, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that about me." It's kind of like, oh well, you know, you're obviously not, you can't keep a man, so you've got to do it yourself. Again, I really should stop generalizing. And no, I never wanted pity. but I also didn't want to be treated as though something was wrong with me because, or I wasn't as worthy because I didn't have a partner. I guess the times have changed now. Women are actually, you know, wanting to be single parents or sole parents, and kudos to you guys. Like, would I do it any differently? No, I think I'd probably do it again, but I probably wouldn't sacrifice so much of my needs. You know, I kind of felt like I had to compensate. I had to compensate for the lack of family we had, and I had to compensate, and I had to be mum, and I had to be dad. Valentine's Day, my son and I renamed it as Sole Parent Day. We would go out to this lovely little coffee shop. I'd give him the money. He'd go up to the counter and order the food. He was only like about 8. It was so sweet. I've never really got a Mother's Day gift, never really got birthday presents, never got Christmas presents or any of those sorts of things. And I'm not, as I said, I don't feel sorry for I'm not feeling sorry for myself or anything like that, but I wonder how many people realise that, and yet single parents are working so much harder to try and keep things afloat and look after their kids, and yet they get the least rewards, or they get the least appraisals. I haven't really thought about this for a long time. I don't know if it helps other people. Maybe it resonates with you as to whether this is the sort of stuff that's happened to you as a single person, a single mother. I guess what I'm saying is I think this is the route I'm going to go with my videos, giving like inspiring other women who have raised their kids on their own and maybe find themselves now, you know, kids have grown up and they just, you know, or they've literally spent their lives just raising their kids and their needs have been put aside, and now it's their turn, and knowing what to do with that. Hopefully watching my journey may inspire you. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy a van, but if something that you're into, obviously some of my videos are going to be about my van because I know there are some people who are following me who are into van life. Anyhow, I'm going to sign out now. I think that's about all I wanted to say about my life and what it's been like as a solo parent or a single parent as such. So if you like it, please make sure you like this and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Okay, bye.